moving out of the industrial era into something new, and we would like to call it the sustainability era, of course.
The SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, are indicators that help us to measure and to monitor whether we actually make progress in the direction of sustainable development. But it's very difficult to implement these strategies, and a part of the reasons why we're here is to think about how can we make science more instrumental in implementation.
The SDG targets and goals, if I may say, is a wish list. The world agreed only on the targets and goals. The world did not agree on pathways.
I think it's important to make knowledge transformative, because for a long time we stayed in our own niches or silos of our disciplines, or maybe even as the silo of science as such, and it's really important to get out to the actors that can actually take action.
Transformative knowledge is really about shifting pathway. It is really about anticipating what may happen and prepare for it, so you have capacity to deal with changing circumstances.
On the one hand, you need to be able to inform the long-term trend and long-term decisions, but on the other hand, you also need to be able to respond to the here and now urgent sort of questions.
Why sustainability cannot be achieved?
How do we organize institutions so that they're actually able to tackle different problems at the same time?
How do you change individuals and collective value sets?
And how do you anticipate these countries to upfront this much investment and to solve all these problems without any support? There is no such miracle that would enable them to do this.
How do we tackle inequalities and at the same time also tackle environmental problems?
I think for GSSF, the real novelty is the goal of GSSF. And that means an overhaul of science at quite a profound level. A change from being reactive to the society to being proactive.
What I heard of the kind of reflections, the proposals to create a personal, a local, and then a global conscience where we are now.
For me, this project is probably about trying to find knowledge that scientists can communicate to specific policymakers to address the sustainability challenge. And we are debating amongst ourselves what is the right angle and the right story, the right narrative that can have the most impact.
Is there a way for us to now start thinking about some of the current contextual issues where people find themselves? Because in a way this is very much our speak.
The question is whether we can anticipate that this will happen by itself, or we have to do technology forcing regulations.
We are at the point where institutional change is an absolute necessity.
I think we really have a responsibility to test narratives that can serve as attractors. What we try to do here is really to gather people who have worked on those type of challenges for a long period of time, and sort of pool our competences and experiences to develop a framework for action that could hopefully be helpful for sustainability transitions.
I think the most unique thing is that you have scientists from different disciplines and you have people from different parts of the world. So it's not as if we can frame the world from the perspective of how we in the West look at it.
Solutions for the SDGs is really to make them more dynamic and not look at them as things you just tick off, actually.
If sustainability is a target, we want to achieve the target, then the target must be self-enforcing.
We needed to translate targets into locally specific socio-economic realities.
The results here help us to come up with more prudent but also with more robust solutions. To really first understand why there are difficulties in implementation, but secondly also to develop and design strategies to to overcome the gap between knowledge and action.